So I have Grismold the Dreadsaur. He has the power trample that I talked about before. At the beginning of your end step, each player creates one green plant token. I think I have the tokens here. As I mentioned before, tokens are kind of these like weaker monsters that you can have more than one of the same type. So here, this would be the plant in this case. A 0 out of 1. It can't attack, but it has one defense, so you can use it to block other players' attacks. And whenever a creature token dies, such as these plants, Grismold gets +1 and +1 power and +1 toughness. So he becomes stronger the more tokens die. So that's part of the strategy, like getting a bunch of tokens, killing them off, and having monsters that benefit from the tokens dying. Temperamental growth. This is just a power up. It adds +1 power, +1 toughness to one creature, +2 of each to another creature, and +3 of each to a third creature. So that would be used on my non-token creatures. Fork in the Road helps me find basic land cards. Let's see. More land finding cards, Rampant Growth. This is another one for making Spirit Warrior creature tokens. X/X, and the Spirit Warriors will be as tough as the creature with the highest toughness I control. So, say if I had my old man Willow had 1/1 because I only had one land on the field, and then I have Grismold who has 3/3, then the Spirit Warrior tokens would have a toughness of 3 because the toughness creature I control would be Grismold who had 3 toughness in that situation. If I have creature on the field with more toughness than that, then the Spirit Warriors would add more toughness. I don't think I have an actual Spirit Warrior token though. For a lot of other things such as Saprolings, which are very important to this deck. But yeah. Anyway, let's see. This can return a creature enchantment from my graveyard to my hand. So then I have this cat demon who has access to power ups if I use an extra green and black mana land. See, land, add 1 mana of any color in my commander's color identity. My commander is Old Man Willow, who has black and green. So this can be used to add black or green. More basics. Yeah, it's a bunch of basic lands here. The basic lands I have are Forest and Swamp, which are green and black, respectively. Wardens of the Cycle. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, I can either gain 2 life or I can draw a card and lose a life. So this is great because once again, my big part of my strategy is just having a bunch of tokens and killing them off as much as possible, either by using them to defend me from tougher monsters, or with certain spells where I sacrifice At the beginning of your end step, if your creature died this turn, draw a card. Now, this one has nothing to do with my strategy. I just love frogs. And the poison dart frog is one of my favorite frogs. But it does have reach, which is pretty useful because normally you can't attack flying creatures. But reach allows you to attack the flying creatures or block them, which creatures without reach cannot do. I can also use 2 mana to give it Death Touch. I can also use the frog itself to be a source of mana. Just like how I would tap land to get mana, I can also tap the Dart Frog to get mana. Here's my, now we're on talking about frogs, here's my other frog, Spore Frog. This one, it's not a token, but I can sacrifice it to prevent combat damage. So it's really cool. Pitiless Plunderer. This actually came from my full out precon deck that my best friend Josh gave me as a gift. Thank you, Josh. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a treasure token. And I can sacrifice treasure tokens to add 1 mana of any color. I do have treasure here. 1 sec. Here it is. But this is not a token creature, it's just a token artifact. So if you any of the cards I mentioned where they talk about creatures dying, even if I sacrifice a treasure, that wouldn't help with those card spells. Morbid Opportunist. This is another one from my Fallout deck. So this exists outside of the Fallout deck. It's just it has Fallout themed art if you get it from the Fallout deck. Same with the Pitiless Plunderer. That also exists outside of Fallout. Let's see. Whenever 1 or more of the creatures die, draw a card. And it triggers only once per turn. Well, here's one of my legendaries. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. One of my strategies for this deck is that I have several ways to gain life. So Dina here can exploit that. And she can also exploit the other strategy where if I sacrifice another creature, she gets a power boost based on how much power the sacrifice creature had. Oh yeah, by the way, this deck is based loosely on a deck that has Saproling. Not Saproling, Slimefoot, the Stowaway, was supposed to be the commander of that deck, but I went with Old Man Willow instead. But I'll send you a link in the description. I will send you a link in the description for that deck that this is loosely based off of, in case you want to get some ideas from it. Despor Thalid. So, let's see. Say I can sacrifice the Saproling to weaken a creature, someone else's creature. Or I can use it to weaken one of my own creatures. If I give a creature -1 toughness and it only had 1 toughness to begin with. For example, I gave -1 toughness to this plant, then it dies. And then if I have some sort of card that I can use a sacrifice for, then I can use this to kill off this, and then I don't know, get this effect here. Let's see. Oh, was this one I knocked? Another land. I can add either green or black mana. I'm not sure if I already showed this one or if this is just a different card with the same effect. Just remember, in Commander, you can only have 1 of each type of card. But that's based on the names, so even if they have the same cost and effect, if they have different names and they're considered different cards. So you can have clone cards that do the exact same thing but have different names. So that's a workaround for that. But the exception to this rule is basic lands, not regular not non-basic lands. I can only have one Path of Ancestry in my deck, but basic lands like forests or swamps, I can have as many of them as I want. And I can have as many token creatures in the field as I want. So you summon token creatures through these other cards anyway. It's not like they're normally a part of your deck. Here's a pretty interesting creature. So it's like, I've never had a card like this before. It is like half creature, half instant spell. And it can also create Saproling tokens, just like this Death Spore Thallid. Let me show you the Saprolings. Look at these beautiful babies. Oh, here. This was originally going to be the commander of my deck.